Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about our thoughts on Hamilton. We'll also be talking about San Diego Comic-Con at home. We'll also be talking about some of the other big news from the week. But before we go any further, just make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. You can also find our podcast on platform services such as Apple and Google and Spotify, etc. But before we go into any more of that, let's talk a little bit about Patreon, where you can help support the channel from as little as $1 a month, and you get access to exclusive videos and also early access to other stuff, and just help towards funding the podcast and other bits and pieces. So a big shout out to our patrons, including Seth, Jacob, Sarah, Joshua, Giuseppe, What's on Netflix, Andrew, and Julie, for all of your support. It really does make a huge difference each month, having all of your support. So let's move into it. So let's talk now about Hamilton, which just joined Disney Plus. So James, what did you think of Hamilton?
I thought the history behind it was fascinating, but I already knew most of the history, and the style, I knew this going in. The style is not to my taste at all. I can see why people enjoy it, but yeah, not for me.
Yeah, I didn't really know too much. I kind of went into this very blind. I didn't really know much about it. Hadn't watched any of the trailers. I thought, no, I'm not going to watch the trailers. Not going to watch anything. So watched it, and wasn't what I was expecting. It's kind of like a couple of different points. First off, I think it visually looks very. I think in terms of how they've done it in terms of a stage, looks very well done. You can see that it is a stage performance, but they're zooming around the cameras. They've got multiple camera angles. You can really see the expression on people's faces. And having been to the theater a number of times in like Broadway and West End and stuff, I'll be honest, I like sitting near the front so I can see the people's emotions and see their eyes and see. I've been at the back when you can't sit and there's just a little people moving around. It doesn't have the same feeling. So I really enjoyed that aspect of being able to see them properly, close up, and I think that was definitely a good thing. The music itself, I was very 50-50. There's a number of songs I did like, the more traditional like musical songs and Broadway style. Wasn't so keen on some of the rap and hip hop style. I did find with like when they started doing rap battles and stuff, I just kind of I glossed over. I'll be honest, I zoned out at some points where I was like, oh yeah, and why? I just didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't my type of music, and it just felt so long, of over 2.5 hours. When that intermission came on, I actually went away for over 20 odd minutes, half an hour. I paused it and stepped away from it because it's just like, oh, I don't know what it was. It's just the style of the rapping. I just didn't like it. And also for me as well, coming into this, I know nothing about Hamilton. I knew zero. And the way it was presented, I know a lot of people have talked, there's been a lot of discussion on our Facebook group about a lot of people liking it and loving it and learning from it, but I didn't. I know like I'm not very good with lyrics and stuff, and it didn't tell a story to me. It was all in the lyric, and I know that's a musical thing, but so I need a little bit of story to go along with it, kind of explain where we're like, okay, and I got to like an hour and a half, 2 hours into the movie, and I'll be honest, I'm sat here now, watched it, I don't know what happened. I really haven't got a clue what happened. And I'm just like, it just wasn't my type of movie. It just, I know a lot of people have really enjoyed it, but for me, this was just not, and it wouldn't even matter if it was a Disney Plus original or if we actually, we wanted to go see it in London, and because there's a lot of the hype over it, but I think I probably would have left the same way. For me, I've grown up with like Andrew Lloyd Webber music, with my parents' list playing it, and even there, going and seeing those on stage, you can sometimes go and they're just singing and singing. It's like there's no story. Whereas I prefer the ones that have a little bit of stop between the singing, and that's just I like it. And I just was just really just like, oh, I'm just glad I didn't spend a lot of money going and see it probably would have been very different. I think I probably would have looked at it very differently, but I kind of got to the end and went, yeah, I'm glad that's over. I won't watch that again.
I do actually kind of prefer traditional musicals in general. Like I actually enjoy stuff like Les Mis, Cats, not the movie version, Wicked. I'm looking forward to that movie, stuff like that. Yeah. But this song style is not for me. You must love the King George bits, though,
Yeah,
right?
do you know what? That was the thing. I really enjoyed that because I didn't know Christopher. I didn't know he was the guy from it until I saw it on the Into the Unknown documentary. I really enjoyed that bit because it was more of a traditional like Broadway style, and there was some of the girls where they were singing a normal song and stuff. I really enjoyed that. So it wasn't like this was a terrible thing. There was some bits I really liked, and there was just bits I just found just dull, and it's not really what you'd expect.
I really enjoyed King George in particular because he reminded me a lot of the Major General from Gilbert and Sullivan. Blanking on which one he's from. It's a famous song.
Yeah.
I'm the very model of
Yeah.
all that one. He reminded me a lot of that. Um,
You know,
but yeah,
again, it's that difference again of different cultures as well. Of like, I only know that from Frasier.
yeah, no, that's fair too. Frasier and also Mass Effect. One of the characters in Mass Effect loves that song. But yeah, it is the style difference, and I actually do appreciate that. Like, while you and I aren't really big fans of this style, it does present history to people who do like that style and who may not have, well, who almost certainly did not get a great education in regards to the beginning of the nation. I'm not even talking about like England and European watchers. I'm talking here in America. Most people don't know the story of Hamilton, or at least didn't before this point. Maybe if you're talking the founding fathers, to go George Washington, Ben Franklin. People will throw Abraham Lincoln in there because they don't know who the founding fathers is, and they don't realize that he was like literally 100 years, or well, 75 years later. So even here in the States, it's not that knowledgeable. And if this play was able to get people a better understanding, then I'm all for it, 100%. And if anything, the fact that it's a 2.5 hour kind of hurts it in the sense that they really had to blow through everything. And even knowing the vast majority of the story already, I was lost at several points because they like, all right, here's the start of the revolution. Here's the Battle of Yorktown and the end of the revolution. Like, seriously? You get like 2 songs on the American Revolution, and then they blow through the Continental Congress and all this.
See, like, this is the difference we have, like, of being at school here. We didn't do any American history.
Well, as you would expect. Why would
so
you?
Therefore, it's like you say about rushing through. It's like they're along the lines of, I don't know really anything. So therefore, you kind of was like, and then they're going on like Congress and Senate, and you're just like, I'm lost here. You see it all on the news but you don't really understand what it is. And yeah, I just think as a whole, it was a very much like, and this is the interesting thing of having what I couldn't understand yesterday because it came out yesterday. I was watching TV because we're still waiting on our Wi-Fi to be enabled in our new home, so we can't watch TV. That's why I'm back in the cave rather than in my new set. And it was like they must have been 25 to 30 adverts yesterday for Disney Plus, which is quite standard. Every single one of them was pushing Frozen 2, which came to Disney Plus on the same, because they don't seem to be pushing this towards the UK market. It was like they've just not pushing out. I mean, they put it on the banners and stuff at the front, but there was no television commercial that wasn't being promoted on any of the talk shows or anything during the day. It was just everything was about Frozen, and it was just, again, looking at it from like a UK side of like Disney just didn't seem to be pushing it very much as much over here.
And you wouldn't expect them not to. I mean, Hamilton is a huge thing in America, but it is specifically American history. And while you in Europe would be aware of it and how big of a phenomenon it is on Broadway and in Chicago and all that stuff, it's not a story that you would expect to push in Britain. It'd be the same as if, I don't know, one of your Broadway shows, or obviously it wouldn't be a Broadway show, one of your London-based shows that's very British. You would expect to get a lot of hype for that on the UK channels, and maybe in America to be like, hey, this big musical, it's huge in London, maybe check it out. It's localized marketing, and that makes sense.
In some ways, it was like a thing of, because I find this as when with like Andrew Lloyd Webber ones in the past, where they're just going from song to song to song, so you don't really necessarily know what's going on without this. And it's just kind of a way I am with musicals of like, usually with a musical, like there's certain big numbers that you know maybe before you go in. Probably why I like will often have gone and seen the big, like the Disney ones and stuff, because you've kind of got that built into it and there's a story to it, and and I've enjoyed other ones like Jersey Boys and stuff. I really enjoyed that kind of one, Mamma Mia, all these kind of different ones. This one just was like all new. I'd never heard any of the songs before, and it was just like, it's difficult kind of where the good, I think there's like 46 songs in this. When I looked at it, it's like, that's quite a lot to squeeze into, and they're jumping around so much that you don't know when one ends and one begins. And I just found it very confusing. I got to the end and going like, I don't know what it was. And I did just put up a tweet and just put, I'll be honest, I enjoyed Artemis Fowl more than Hamilton. That's how I'm sitting here. I mean, it's not in the kind of the Timmy Failure range, but I'm still sitting there going, do you know what? I'd rather watch Artemis Fowl again than Hamilton.
I'm sure that got a lot of positive feedback.
Yes. People go, oh my. And it's like, but I'd seen quite a few Disney fans over here, and there was a lot of discussion on our Facebook group. People going, you can't, people going, I don't understand what the problem is with it, and people getting like 25, 30 minutes into it and turning off because they just didn't like the music style. And I can really see how it is a bit like that. Of if you don't like that music, it can just make you slide off and go, I'm not wasting any more time on this.
Yeah, and I would say to people, if you're not liking it, then don't continue. There's no reason to continue watching something that you're not enjoying. And just because something is insanely popular, like Hamilton or Cats or Les Mis, doesn't mean you have to like it too. And it's perfectly valid to not like it. Us not liking it or not enjoying it that much doesn't mean that the people who enjoyed it are wrong at all. And I'm sure we will definitely get comments from people who are like, how could you not like this? Maybe particularly at me, it might like not patriotic because I'm not, stuff like that. Get it out of your system. It's fine. I'm not going to read them anyway. But
no,
and like I said, I really like the story of Hamilton. And honestly, there were parts of it where I was like, I want to know more about what happened at that point. So I'm going to try and track down some biographies.
Well, I was like Google. I've been like going on like Wikipedia and trying to sort of piece together what actually happened and who it was. I think it's interesting as well, like looking at it from like because obviously this was filmed a few years ago and they've brought it on to Disney Plus now. It was supposed to be in cinemas next year. And it's like I'm there looking and going, well, that guy's from Station 19 and that guy's from Frozen, or I know them, and like Lin-Manuel, I'm go, oh yeah, that's the guy from Mary Poppins Returns. I'm seeing them after they've made it big, rather than before. And I just don't know, it was just very interesting, sort of going, and there were some really good performances, and you could really see them going for it. I was like, and that's the difference. I'm not sitting here going, oh my god, that was awful. It was just like, the performances were full on, just really, some of them are fantastic. It's just, if you don't like the music, you kind of lose that.
Yeah, so I want to end with two thoughts. One, you kind of alluded to this earlier. I love the stage that they were on. That whole like circular track thing. That was really cool. And I want to see more of that. Honestly, that was really cool. It added a lot of dynamism to the performance where people didn't even have to move, and there was a lot of action going on.
Yeah. That
was awesome. And I realize it's called Hamilton, but they really cut the story off before Burr's story gets absolutely nuts. Aaron Burr, of course, the primary antagonist of the show. I really encourage anyone who enjoyed Hamilton to go find out what happened to Burr after the duel, because it gets even more bonkers than that. He's accused of treason. He gets married to a younger woman, and the divorce lawyer, when she finds out she's spending all of his money, is Alexander Hamilton Jr. And stuff like that. He like lives in Europe for 10 years. And if you were to tell that story, it would have to be rated X. It's go track it down. Yeah. Not defending the guy. He is absolutely 100. If anything, the show is actually very kind to him. Because everybody who wrote about him is like, no, this guy's a jerk all the way around. And they kind of make him a little sympathetic in this. But seriously, there's so many side stories that this show doesn't even have a chance to touch on not just Burr, but for a lot of them, track it down. The founding fathers were nuts.
Yeah, it's funny to kind of there was hope if you say like rated X, so obviously it got reduced from an R down to PG-13. They removed a few F words. There's still quite a bit of swearing in there and a bit of bits and pieces. And I had a few people message me sort of saying, is it safe for kids? It's like, but still a PG-13, and ultimately it's going to come down to your choice of if you want something that is completely clean and don't watch a PG-13 movie or thing, because there will be something in there. There's a reason why that rating is in there. I think it was right for them to do that little bit of editing so more people could enjoy it. I think it's going to be a massive draw for people in it. And I'm sure it's going to be people that are just going to be watching it on repeat, because if you like that music, you're just going to keep wanting to put it on. But yeah, it was just quite a strange little kind of, there was just going to be this big explosion of people watching Hamilton all over social media, and it became a bit of a thing, and there was watch parties, and it was like this big celebration and people loving it and getting into it. And I was just like, a sort of like now just like going, it's just such a strange one. Almost that feeling go, you guys are all enjoying it. I'm not getting what can someone please explain to me what there's that kind of weird thing of going, could you, it's like you feel like you're missing out because you're like, I'm watching this, but I'm like, have I got a filter off where I'm not like picking up on what everyone's loving about it? And it is really, in some ways, it's a little bit frustrating because it's like 99% of people like it. I know, and I don't know why.
Well, that is going to be like a bit of self-filtering though too. Yeah. The people who would not like this music style probably know that going in, like I did. Yeah. I knew what the music was, and I knew that it was going to be a hurdle for me to get over. They are self-selecting out of it. They already know I'm not going to like this music, so I'm not going to watch it. Yeah. Which means that the people who do watch it already know what the music is. They already like the music, so they're going to be like, this is fantastic. Now that it's on Disney Plus, I suspect a lot more people like me will at least try it because it doesn't have that $500 price tag attached to it or the lottery system, which other people got to use. But I am at least, pardon me, I'm at least sitting here going, you've got one guy over here in a Raw shirt, and you've got this other guy here in a BB-8 shirt. Maybe we're not maybe we're not the target audience here, which is fine.
Yeah, but I think that's ultimately it. There was always going to be that sort of situation. Not everything is for everyone, and I'm just looking at this one here of going, I don't know. I was almost like I was expecting to like it. I think that was where I was like, people's expectations and stuff. I was going in there going, well, this is a musical with a guy that I like. It's really popular. I'm gonna like it, and I was like really weird thing of going, yeah, this isn't what I was expecting. And I don't know, because the actual presentation of it was what I was expecting. It was a stage show and all the rest of it, and it was just kind of I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I was not I did not, honestly, when I sat down 3 hours ago to start watching the movie, and they're going, oh, it's like I didn't even for a second think that I wasn't gonna like it. It was quite strange.
No. So one final thought. I know this is my third final thought now. I mentioned Burr would get charged with treason after the fact. It's not actually for this duel. It's for something else entirely. I'll let people look it up for themselves because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it is a strange little thing. I'm really glad it's on there. I'm really hoping Disney do this with other things, like there are other shows like Frozen and Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King and all that lot, because they are fantastic, and I really think this is something that could boost it. It's also just been really nice seeing people excited about a movie or a document or something, because there's just been nothing out. We've really had very little for people to be excited about over the last 4 months when it comes to movies. Other than Artemis Fowl didn't hit that mark, but also Trolls was about it. There's really just been nothing out for people to be able to enjoy. I think Hamilton benefit from a lot of already having an established base and people wanting to watch it, and there's a lot of people now jumping in seeing it because they've never been able to before, and it's a decent price tag for people to try it out. It's just it was just really refreshing just to see everybody to have a feed just fill up with something positive. and nice, which especially at the minute, there's just been so much, negativity and just so much fear and everything going on right now in the world. It was just really nice to have a little almost hint of normality when there's a buzz and when there's something trending that's entertainment.
Yeah, and we're definitely in a lull right now, and we're waiting for some new content. I was actually reading the release list for this week, and I was looking at stuff, and I was like, oh, Mighty Ducks, maybe I should rewatch that, even though I have never had a compulsion to rewatch that in the last 20 years. Oh, the Race to Witch Mountain?
Yeah.
I don't even remember when this movie came out, but maybe I'll try that just to have something to watch.
Yeah, it is. It was that was a bit like last week where we watched the Eurovision Song Contest movie on Netflix just because.
No, you watched that.
It, yeah.
I saw 5 seconds of the trailer and knew it was going to be horrifically bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did actually enjoy that. But it's that kind of thing of just like I said, right now there's not really a lot going on. So I think we might. So we'll put a pin into Hamilton at this point. But I'd love to know your thoughts on it. If you've been listening, let me know. Either get in contact on social media, or if you're watching, let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Am I just way off? But I know there was at least some people in the Facebook group that did think the same as me. But moving on from there, so obviously with things being delayed, it looks like we've got some more things coming up soon. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is kind of set to start filming maybe in Prague in the fall. There's also been reports of it maybe starting in August. I cannot see how this show is going to hit its August air date, especially if they don't start filming until like September, October. Loki's set to start up soon. The problem is obviously right now with the virus kind of exploding back in the US, it seems to just, cinemas are starting to shut back down again. Things are where we thought everything was moving out of it, because obviously today, July the 4th, here in the UK, there's been a big, massive drop in the lockdown. Pubs can open, restaurants can start doing bits and pieces, people can go and stay in hotels. So today's like the first real big day, people being able to move around. And whereas over there, everything's kind of doing the opposite. And cinemas are kind of shutting back down again, and Mulan got pushed back again, and I think we're just going to see, the August movies really starting to get hit because they're not that far away now.
Oh well, they're not that far away now, but they will be soon. Yeah, there's that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think we talked about this before, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did a split season, depending on what has already been filmed. Because it would be nice if they've got the content for 3 episodes or something like that, then I suspect it at least to have something to put up, they would throw those and say, all right, episodes 4 through 6 or 4 through 8, however many it's going to end up being, will come at a later date once we've had a chance to finish them. But here, enjoy this while America is in phase 1.2 of this nonsense.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd be quite happy to take 1 episode a month for 3 months just to kind of have something, because by the time Black Widow is supposed to come out in like end of October, beginning of November, it's been a long time since Far From Home. I don't know necessarily sometimes if that's a bad thing, giving everybody a bit of a break from Marvel is helping everyone like reset. But yeah, so moving on from there, and now let's talk about a bit of Marvel movies. So Disney announced a new thing that they're doing, which is called, it's basically summer movie nights for the US. They announced a load of movies coming right through from July until September. Every Friday, there's some big movies hitting. Obviously, we had Hamilton, Mighty Ducks yesterday. On July the 10th, we have X-Men Days of Future Past and Solo: A Star Wars Story. Week after that, X-Men Apocalypse. Then we've got Friday, July 24th, we got Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. July the 31st, Incredibles 2. Heading into August the 7th, we've got X-Men and the Peanuts movie. Friday, August 14th, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. And this one's a big one, The Greatest Showman. Now, when I say about musicals, I love that movie. I've seen it probably about 40, 50 times. We've had the soundtrack on go. So when I say about not liking musicals, I love The Greatest Showman. I thought that was a fantastic one, and I'll definitely be watching that one when that arrives on Disney Plus. Following up August 21st with Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 version, heading into August the 28th. Fantastic Four and Alice Through the Looking Glass, leading on to the final one on the list, September the 4th, The Wolverine. So they're dropping big movies week after week. Interesting enough, they didn't put, I think it was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time on that list, because I've never seen that one. But it was quite funny because most of these movies are already available in other countries already, but the US lineup that was a big boost. Definitely for me, The Greatest Showman stands out as being the biggest one there. But the X-Men movies are also a huge draw for Disney Plus in the US.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for the X-Men movies. Even Apocalypse, which I thought wasn't a particularly good one, and the Wolverine, which I've seen exactly once. Most people even forget that one exists entirely, because you remember the Origin, which was atrocious, and then you've got Logan, which was fantastic, and then there was another one in the middle which had absolutely no impact on any of the X-Men stories ever.
The really funny thing was I put the article up, and I put in the Origins picture. Someone you put the wrong one in, and going, what do you mean I put the wrong one in? It's like, oh, there was two. I completely forgot. And then it was like, oh yeah, you're right. There was two Wolverine movies. I'd completely, like, in my mind, and like they'd merged together into one. It's like, yeah, it was the one set in Japan with Deadpool.
No.
That's how many times I've seen those movies. I think I've seen them once, and completely like glossed over the fact that there was two separate Wolverine movies.
Yeah, the second one actually wasn't bad either. It just was. Yeah. It was blah. In any event, excuse me. In any event, The Greatest Showman. Going back to that one, I have not seen that one at all. I know two of the songs from it. I know, the famous one, the opening, and then Rewrite the Stars. Yeah. So I'll be going into that one mostly blind. I wish the subject matter was something else. I don't really want to glorify P.T. Barnum, but it does look a lot more my speed than, say, Hamilton. I'm looking forward to seeing it just because I've never seen it. And I'm looking forward to a lot of these other drops that I have seen just because there's something to look forward to, which is exactly what Disney is hoping for.
Yeah, no, I think that was a big one. Definitely going to be a big draw for Disney Plus, and that's always a good thing. Just get these things on there. So nice to see Disney kind of being quite open. They also announced at the same time that Phineas and Ferb, the movie Candace versus Against the Universe, will be arriving on Disney Plus on Friday, August 28th. It's a brand new series brand new movie where they track the stepbrothers Phineas and Ferb as they set out across the galaxy to rescue their older sister Candace, who, after being abducted by aliens, finds utopia in a far-off planet, free of her pesky little brothers. I'll be honest, my first introduction to Phineas and Ferb was actually for the Disney Infinity video game that we used to cover and do a podcast on. So I've never really, it's just one of those things I've not really had much to do with. But there's a lot of excitement about this movie. Lots of people into it. Again, just good between this one, and then we've got the one and only Ivan dropping in August as well. I just think like August is turning into quite a nice little lineup.
Yeah, and we don't even know the full scale of what it's going to be, but it is kind of sad that we're only 4 days into July and we're already like, man, what's August going to bring us?
Yes. Well, to be honest, I think we're all just trying to hit the speed up button through 2020 right now. Just trying to get through it. It's good to see them kind of getting this one out there. They've had, obviously we'll start seeing a little bit more about that one. The reason we will see some more about it is at the San Diego Comic-Con. It's not obviously taking place this year because everything's cancelled. They are doing a virtual one from home with virtual festivals, and there's going to be 3 Disney Plus originals shown off at the event. They've not announced how we can watch them. I'm going to guess like YouTube, but it takes place from July the 22nd to July the 26th. There's going to be 3 panels. On July the 23rd, you're going to get a look inside Marvel's 616, which is a brand new like documentary series from Marvel. On the July the 25th at 12 p.m., you're going to get a first look at the Phineas and Ferb movie. And then on the same day, an hour later at 1 o'clock, National Geographic's The Right Stuff, they're going to be present and giving off some information about that show. So 3 panels. Hopefully we'll get the information sooner when we're going to be able to watch it. I'll watch all 3 of them. I'm interested. I think The Right Stuff is the one for me that I'm definitely looking forward to because it's like a live action drama series, which I don't think Disney Plus has had enough of. But yeah, I'm all in for all of them.
Oh yeah, definitely in for all of them. Honestly, even if they weren't things I was already interested in, I probably want to check them out anyway, just to see what's coming. And honestly, this one hit a little bit hard this week because this weekend would have been Denver Comic-Con, which is the part of the country I'm in, and obviously that got canceled. And they're not even doing a virtual thing as far as I know. So it popped up on my calendar. Oh, you got go pick up your tickets on, because I said it way back in like January. Go pick up your tickets for the weekend Comic-Con. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think I'll be doing that this weekend. But San Diego's not the only con that's doing this kind of thing. A lot of and basically every industry is moving to a lot of virtual virtual conventions this year. Obviously, Comic-Con is specific to that genre, but it's 2020. That's just the way it's got to be for all these groups.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Like we had E3 a couple of weeks ago where they tried doing bits and pieces online. It never quite hits the same impact. And I know there's a lot of pressure of people kind of going, yeah, come on, where's all the Marvel stuff for San Diego Comic-Con? Show us the trailers. I think apparently a Black Widow trailer or something's coming soon. But if I was honest, if I was Marvel right now, I'd be like, yeah, you guys can just wait until we know what's going on. I know DC are doing their thing, but I would think Marvel is just going to ease off the gas pedal until they know what's going on.
Yeah, although I will say, when we had the Sony press conference a couple weeks back where they were talking about all the stuff coming for the PlayStation 5, I found that panel to be a lot better than the normal panels, which get filled in with fluff from audience stuff and having to be in front of a live audience where they have to pitch it. And then it's like, nope, here's a trailer. I was like, this is so much better. Please keep doing it this way.
Yeah, there are some advantages to doing these online presentations. I always feel like with like San Diego Comic-Con and D23, etc., that they need to embrace this like digital thing of like, you're putting on this show, let people out there and watch it. It's free advertising. People that want to go to see these things, they will want to go see it because of the people that are there. The chance going, oh, I was there, and all the rest of it, rather than me having to watch D23 through Periscope as we've done before. Obviously, where Star Wars Celebration is no longer taking place, that was set to happen in August. That's been pushed back. So again, even with the Star Wars stuff, I would expect a drip feed. I don't think they're going to be doing anything instead of announcing everything on one weekend like they probably would have done. Now they'll just drip feed it out. So, but I don't know. I can't see them announcing much for a while. I think they're going to be holding off on a lot of this stuff. I think the one and only Ivan and the Phineas and Ferb movie is going to set us for Disney Plus through August.
Yeah, I might actually have to go and watch regular Phineas and Ferb because I've never actually seen it. My only introduction to the characters is really from Disney Infinity, and they didn't have their own like play set, so we never got a proper introduction to those characters unless you saw the show, which I did not.
No, it's kind of funny. I think that's always kind of the way that moved on. So yeah, so that's going on now. Let's have a look and see what else we had on our list for today. Oh yeah, so another Disney Plus special was announced. There's going to be a new special visual album from Beyoncé called Black is King. It features all the music from The Lion King, The Gift. It's a visual album. It will be coming to Disney Plus on July the 31st. This one's going to be interesting to see how it works because obviously The Lion King, all that music, I mean, kind of feel like, well, why wasn't this released last year? And yeah, it's just been a lot of interest in this one here because just having a load of stuff from Beyonce, she's had some fantastic songs. There's going to be videos from songs such as My Power, Mood for Eva, Brown Skin Girl. There's also special guest appearances and artists. Just the trailer alone, it just looks very high-end sort of music video. I'll give it a whirl and see what it's like. I do remember like when the Lion King music came out last year for the movie, things like was it the Gifted? No, Spirit. That's the word. That was her main big new song for that one. So I'm hoping that one's in there as well. Whether or not we actually have any Lion King music in here, I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but it was kind of inspired by the movie.
Yeah, it was a little weird how the press release was talking about Lion King, and then they show the trailer and like there's there's literally nothing Lion King in this trailer. So a little bit of a mixed message in that regard. That said, Beyonce is extremely popular, so this I expect will do really well, and I will check it out when it pops in as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it would be like the Taylor Swift special where it kind of comes on and goes off, or if it's a bit more longer. Because it's kind of connected to the Lion King, there might be a bit. I know recently we talked about Beyonce kind of trying to do a big deal with Disney for like $100 million for access to a load of movies and stuff. So whether or not this is part of it, I like the idea of them putting things like this on there and things like Hamilton and Taylor Swift. More music on there, give us a bit of variety. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of controversy over the title. I'll be honest, I didn't even notice it when I put it up, but there was a lot of people and it was a bit like this whole thing of having a visual album based on stuff from the Lion King, and it's just unnecessary, maybe additional backlash that Disney Plus didn't really need right now. But until we see it, it's hard to know. But I generally think having more content like this on Disney Plus is what we need. And everyone complaining about Disney Plus having too much stuff for kids, things like Hamilton and this new thing from Beyonce is all going to help towards that.
Yeah, it's just a wide variety of things available.
So that pretty much wraps up most of the news. I'll be honest, there's probably been a few other bits and pieces, but this past week, I did actually move house. So if you've watched any of the new videos in the last couple of days, I've been in a new set. I've got a new special dedicated area for filming and stuff, and a little office, so it's great for all that. But unfortunately, Wi-Fi and moving and all the rest of it has been, let's say I plowed through my entire month's data allowance in 2 days. I was just like, yes, need to get on that. So everything kind of returning back to some kind of normality in the week ahead. But I'll be honest, I have watched absolutely nothing other than Hamilton all week. Have you caught anything else?
I actually checked out a couple of older items on the on Disney Plus. I watched Tarzan, because I hadn't seen that in a long time. I was just like, oh yeah, I really like the Phil Collins songs. I'll go with that. And also Pinocchio, which I have not watched since I was a child, and I honestly remember why I haven't watched it since a child. But it's a classic movie, and it was fun to see a lot of stuff that I only remember as songs. And there were whole sections of the movie I just didn't remember.
I did actually, since last week, I did actually watch Tron Legacy.
That's right.
Because watched that one on Saturday or Sunday last week. Because I was just like looking for like a movie just to put on while I was like chilling out in the evening after packing everything up, and I was just like, Tron. I can't remember that movie, and I thought, I instantly put it up, and the music took me back to the Shanghai Tron cycle. The roller coaster that they're currently building a version of that in the Magic Kingdom, and just going, I love this music. The Daft Punk version was great. And I even watched it and went, actually, it was like, this isn't as bad as I remember. It was like not that bad.
As long as you don't focus too much on the digital, Jeff Bridges or whatever, just kind of gloss over that. Because I think they did say, maybe it was over the last week, that they confirmed Tron 3 was in production. They're still working on getting like a screenwriter though, but they want to move forward with another one.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think Tron's kind of, the amount of, they wouldn't be spending all that money at the Magic Kingdom on a franchise if they didn't think there was something futuristic to use it for on future projects. But I watched Tron Legacy and I was like, this is actually, I kind of enjoyed it. And that's been it. It's been nice to really just be able to get back and start watching like Disney and stuff properly. And the other good thing as well, I actually had Sky satellite installed, and so it's got a lot more National Geographic channels on there, because there's a bit of a weird thing right now with National Geographic and Disney Plus over here in the UK. It is a bit later, but also once it's fully operational here, it does actually come built in with Disney Plus. So I can use that option for 4K and stuff. So it might be a bit smoother than my 5-year-old smart TV, which can be a bit sluggish. But let us know in the did you watch anything else?
No, that was it from Disney Plus.
Yeah. So, on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you go check us out over at what's on disneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Remember as well, you can help support the podcast and the channel over on Patreon. And we shall see you guys in another episode. Laters.